Welcome back to the Back in Time channel. Hey guys, what's up? So we're going to talk about the SWV and Escape Queens of R&B season. Now, this is the first episode that I will be reviewing for many upcoming feature episodes. So I want to go ahead and talk about this mainly because I covered and discussed a lot of the drama that was taking place with the ladies at the tail end of last year, and some of those videos got a lot of traction. So I only felt like it made sense to continue to cover the drama that has spilled over or that will spill over into television. So let's start off by talking about the opening scenes of the first season. So in the opening, they talking about how the groups were formed and how they became successful and how they broke up and they came back together. Now, all of this led back up to the ladies doing the verses, and that went really good. And now they're discussing, or it's talks of them doing a possible joint tour. So the next scene we have is Candy, Tiny, and Tamika. So these three are in what looks like a studio. Candy is on their engineering, touching up a song that went viral, and she's just trying to remix it or whatever and get it out. And she's just going through the archive, and they're basically discussing the incident that happened in Vegas with Tasha. Apparently, they was in Vegas. Candy and Tamika shared a dressing room that they were locked out of for over an hour, and they couldn't get into their dressing room. And then, lo and behold, their sister, or Tasha, Tamika's sister, walks past them and then check on them and then try to, you know, find out if they needed anything or whatever. And so they felt some type of way about that, especially Tamika, and they haven't spoken since. And then on top of that, they had a little exchange in a group message. So apparently, Tamika made a comment about Tasha not having a butt or a big booty or whatever, and she felt like it was body shaming her. And Candy thinks that it's not as a big deal as they are making that Vegas incident, but she tries to stay out of it because she don't want to be caught in the crossfire, being ganged on or hated by the sisters again. And Tiny thinks that it's very funny because she was just tripping off all of it. She didn't think it was a big deal. She just was laughing. She thought it was funny. But we get to the next scene, right? And SWV is on stage and they're basically doing rehearsal. They're practicing for an upcoming show and they all look good. They're doing their little two-step dance or whatever. They talk about how they not spring chickens anymore, so it's kind of hard for them to really move how they used to. So they try to basically do things in a way that can really, keep them energized on the stage and so they won't hurt themselves. And so they sit down with their manager and they are discussing a possible tour with Escape. For the most part, all ladies, feel like it's, a good idea and they feel like it'll be good to go. They seem down for it, and since it's the 30th anniversary, they both can do this tour together because at this time you have SWV who's coming up on their 30th anniversary, and then Escape's 30th anniversary, I believe, is right behind that. And so they felt like all of that together will make a really, really good idea and make a good business move for them. So we get to the next scene. You got Tasha, Rocky, and her son. And in this scene, to me, Tasha looks really good. I'm gonna give her props. She looks really good. She doesn't even look like she's her son's mom. She looks like his older sister. That's just in my opinion. And you got them, they just outside, they talking or whatever, and then somehow they end up in the kitchen. And she was just discussing things, how they met and everything. And it was funny that she said Candy actually introduced them. I thought that was interesting. And Tasha is saying how she haven't spoken to her sister since the Vegas incident, and how if things are not going well or going right and her energy is off, she can't put nothing into it. Like if it don't feel right, she ain't finna do it. And so we can kind of like get a inkling of what she meant by that, possibly meaning like tours and doing shows, etc., etc. So right off the bat, you can tell like if she's saying stuff like this, then more than likely, it's gonna start getting to the stages, or at this point, it's probably already is that she's isolating herself. So we get to the next scene where you have Tiny discussing the balancing of family with her husband, her kids, but how she loves doing it all. Now Tiny says and asks, Tiny says, T.I. always asks, "Why you working? Why you working?" And she was like, "Because I have talent and this is what I do." And I'm thinking to myself, why would he ask why she always working? Because before they met a little bit after the group broke up, whatever, but nonetheless, T.I. knows what Tiny does or what she used to do. And so I just felt like he was just used to her not working for so long and being around in the house and taking care of everything. I feel like if something is always your passion and it's something you love to do, it'll always come full circle back around. And I guess this is the case for Tiny, because they are making a lot of money. We get to the next scene, guys, and this is Tamika, Scott, and her husband. They have a scene in the kitchen. She's talking about how they met or whatever, how he is executive security or something like that, top security for a lot of musical artists or celebrities from the 90s or whatever. And she met him from doing a job with Tyler Perry and stuff like that. And she's just discussing with him how her and her sister are still not talking, and her whole big fear of this is that she don't want to mix um, business with personal, meaning she don't want that family dynamic to spill into the business. But to me, I mean, that's already happened. That's happened in the past when she took up for Tasha, defending her against Candy. Now, granted, that's her sister, so of course she's gonna have her back or whatever. But this is not the first time that personal has mixed into the group with the business. Because if that was the case, the group would have never broken up in the first place. So I kind of felt like when she said that, I was like, well, it's too late for that. And then y'all, but on top of that, I can see how Tamika doesn't want that this time around because, like I said before, they are making a lot of money, and this gravy train is coming and it's moving fast. And so you better get all you can while you can. So we got the next scene of both R&B groups, ladies, SWV and XSCAPE. They're having a dinner date that Taj orchestrated because they want to discuss the possible collaboration for the tour. So everyone arrives, and you can tell with Tasha's energy that it shifts in the room, because Tasha comes in and she greets Tiny and Taj. She gives them a hug, but then she sees her sister. She doesn't hug her sister, and her sister compliments her and tells her how she looked nice, and she just says thank you. She doesn't give her a return comment, and she just completely ghosts Candy. And Candy says in her confessional how they always been oil and water. They never gotten along. Candy always felt like Tasha didn't like her. And I felt that was interesting because they was doing flashbacks of Escape Just Kicking It season, where Candy was telling Tasha that, and Tasha was like, she don't know what she talking about. She never got this. She don't understand how Candy felt that way. But you got this scene fast forward now in 23 where we're seeing Tasha literally ignore Candy, or literally just, give her, I don't know if it was a stank eye or whatever you want to call it, but you can tell that there's friction and there's a lot of tension between them all, but mainly between the sisters. So you got everyone, they got around at the table, right? They discussing the possible ideas of how they want the tour to be, how they want it to look, if they need one DJ, if they need just a single set group of dancers, just for everybody to share, or should they have it separate? Coco, she's not really feeling one DJ, and then you have Tiny and Tamika getting their input, and also Candy. And the only one that's not engaging is Tasha. Tasha's kind of just sitting there again with she has this energy that she claims that she can't be around. It's like she's carrying it, and she's just sitting there, and everybody else engaging except her. And Taj notices and says, "Hey, is everything okay? What's wrong or whatever?" She was like, "I'm fine. I'm cool. I just got reservations." And she was like, "Reservations about what?" She was like, "We got internal issues going on that we need to fix within our group before we can move forward doing anything." And she was like, "I'm not really for the tour." And so the SWV ladies are looking like, "Oh, here we go. Been there, done that." And so they try to kick them some game or some advice and say, "Hey, this is bigger than y'all. This is bigger than just the group. You got people out here that want to support y'all, and this is for your fans and stuff like that." And you have Tasha saying that, you know, the things that they got going on, it can't be fixed in one day, which or in a matter of a couple of days, which is understandable or whatever. But again, that is personal. She's allowing her personal to affect her business. Whereas you have Tamika this time who's saying that, hey, I don't want personal to affect business. So you got two conflicting issues within itself right there, which I found that was interesting because it's the polar opposite of what it was back in the day. So you got SWV giving them advice and saying, "Hey, we don't always like each other. We don't always go get along, but at the end of the day, we show up and we do our work and we do what we got to do." Because again, these ladies make a lot of money. For them to be a group from the 90s and in this era, they make a whole lot of money. They do arena tours and stuff like that. So she's saying again, we put that to the side or whatever, and we show up and we do what we got to do. So they constantly giving advice and stuff like that. And you still have Tasha just finding the negative to nitpick at and stuff like that instead of coming off like she trying to resolve it. And so Taj asked, she was like, "Do you want to resolve it?" She said, "You don't seem like you do." And that's what I was saying, that Tasha is just the only oddball being negative at the table. And I guess, and I have to be objective with this and put myself in her shoes. Maybe she's coming from a point where, okay, we got issues and stuff going on, and they just sitting around like nothing ain't happened. They being fake, and I'm not finna sit here and do that. I can see that. To give her that, I'll give her that. But at the end of the day, it's business. That's what you're there to meet for business. Because if you wasn't there to meet for business, you wouldn't be sitting around those ladies at all. Because again, you all about your energy. So I feel like Tasha was being a little immature with that. And I like how Lily said that at a certain point or level in life, you just have to grow up. A lot of this stuff is just childish. Basically what she was saying. And in that moment, you could tell that Tasha is definitely going to be the villain this season. So it's going to be interesting to see how things go moving forward with that. So we get the next scene. Candy is discussing the drama with the group. She's in the kitchen with Todd. They making pizza for the kids. And I found it interesting that Candy thought Tamika did everything to please Tasha in the past, like she was a yes man. And that took me back to where several videos I made ago, how I said that Tasha might feel some type of way because she's not getting the same Tamika she got back in the day. And when Candy said this in this scene, it kind of just, for me, it kind of just backed up to where I was going with, or where I was going to with my whole point with that. And so they discuss that, they talk about it, and we get to the next scene where we got Tasha, Mama G, and Tamika. They're going to link up to have a conversation. Because apparently there's been side conversations going on between Tasha and the mama about Tamika. Now, they didn't say that, but you can clearly get that from the scene before Tamika get there. And they're going to communicate and have a meeting. So Tamika gets there. She greets her mama. And interesting, Tasha's energy is different. So Tasha greets Tamika's daughter, Ocean, who rode with her mom there. And Tasha tries to give Tamika a hug, and Tamika was like, "Okay, we give a hug." Now she was like, "Yes, we always give hugs." And then production flashed back to where they had that dinner, that meeting for the possible tour discussion, and Tasha didn't hug Tamika. She barely even acknowledged her. She just sat beside her and kept her head turned. So in that moment, I felt like, okay, Tasha is being slick, and I can kind of see like the things that she does, and then she tries to play it off like she don't know what people talking about. So in that moment when production flashed back and did that, and not only the moment where Candy was talking about how she felt like Tasha never liked her or whatever, looking at her pattern of behavior, I can see where those things that are being said about her are coming from. So Tamika's in the confession, and she feel like basically her mom has always showed favoritism towards her older sister. She says it's been like this since they were kids, and she don't understand why. And I kind of see it. Like in this scene, you were able to see it because they sit down and they discuss, and right off the bat, the mom wants an explanation from Tamika why she blasted off or went off in a group text discussing things or matters about um, um, Tasha or whatever. And Tamika was saying that she felt some type of way. She was saying how things played out. She was saying like, I was locked out of my dressing room for a whole hour, and here she comes scrolling by like she's Beyonce down the runway, and she didn't even, bat an eye to see if I was okay. And she was like, that made me upset because I would have checked and made sure that she was good. And she was like, she didn't do that. And the mom was like, she wasn't supposed to do that. She shouldn't do that, whatever. And then Tasha chimes in and says, but she sat there and body shamed me. She talked about me. Now, she talking about this butt comment saying that she doesn't have a butt to kiss or something like that. And I understand where Tasha's coming from with it. It's a sore spot for her because she faced a lot of ridicule about her weight in the 90s. She wanted her talent to overshadow things about her weight, but instead it was the opposite. And so she got a lot of flack for that and stuff like that. And so that's a sensitive sore spot for her. However, I can't say that in this moment she could use that because at the end of the day, you talking about a text message of her attacking you or quote unquote body shaming you, but your sister's telling you that you knew they didn't have no dressing room or whatever, and you walk right past them and you ain't do nothing about it. So that came before the text. So again, I can see how Tasha does little things and then try to play it off like she don't know what people talking about. And so the mom is just disregarding them like, that doesn't matter. You guys don't do that or whatever. And so as the mom is talking, you can tell that she is in favor of Tasha point about everything. And Tamika just all of a sudden just lashes out and said, they stole my money. You always get quiet when she does things wrong, when she says stuff. She was like, what you talking about? She just said, because Tasha made a comment saying that, we're sisters. I can't help that we sisters or whatever. But that, in that moment, affected Tamika. And the mom was sitting right there when Tasha said it, but she blew it off like it wasn't a big deal or whatever. And she was like, and that hurt your feelings or whatever. And I can see where Tamika's coming from, saying that it's okay for Tasha to do certain things, but she can't. And it's okay for her to say certain things, but she can't say those certain things. So I understood where Tamika was coming by from that. And Tamika blew up, and she said that they stole my money. You knew about it, and you got quiet, just like you get quiet every time something she does wrong goes down. And she was like, what you talking about? She's like, ain't nobody steal your money. She's like, yes, they did. Tasha and Rocky stole my money. I got proof. My friend got proof or whatever. And we could take you to jail. Do you want to go to jail? It ain't too late. I started laughing when she said that because I felt like it was petty. But I understand where she's coming from. She said it was allegedly $30,000 that they stole from her. And when she threw in her husband Rocky name in that, I automatically knew then that it was some, foul play going on with that. Just his name alone, anytime it is mentioned in that group, it's going to be some mess going down. And how Tamika knew about this, the $30,000, because Tiny Mom told her that they were supposed to be getting some type of royalty or some type of royalties check, and she never seen that check. And so it cut off ending with that scene of Tamika going off about that. And then the mom started getting upset, talking about, you need counseling. This ain't right. Cut those cameras off or get out of my house. And so everything shifts and everything goes crazy. And it ends right there. But I will say that I did not like how it came off, because maybe it was just editing. I didn't like how it came off that the mom was not trying to be fair when it came down to the two, because you could tell like everything Tamika said, the mom had a rebuttal in favor of Tasha for, and Tasha could just basically sit there, and the mom was just basically being the guard dog, attacking the other daughter. That's how it came off. Like she disregarding her feelings, didn't care about what she had to say or whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm still mindful that that's their family. And so we only seeing a portion or certain things that we only see. We don't see the whole entire conversation and everything that's taking place. This is hours of footage condensed down into several minutes. And nobody knows their family like family. So it's going to be interesting when we pick up off next week or what goes down or what happens. But I had to come in and do this review because this is just the first episode, and we got all this out of one episode. Tells me that it's more to come down the pipeline, and it's only going to get crazier from there. But I thought it was a really good episode. I hope you guys like it, but these are just my thoughts and my opinions about the review. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions about this review. So go ahead and leave your thoughts down below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe here with us at Back in Time. But until next time,
this is a good time. Get the stepping. This is a good time. Get the stepping.